Hello and welcome. As you guys probably already know, the V Rising Invaders of Oakveil gameplay trailer has finally been released. I just saw it over on the Triple I Initiative stream that's still going on as I'm recording this, but I'll go back and watch the other stuff later. You guys should definitely go check that out. There's a lot of really good releases in that lineup. I'm going to leave a link to that below. Anyway, we're going to get right into it. We're going to watch this trailer and we're going to break it down a little bit and see if there's anything interesting. So this will be my second time seeing it. So this isn't exactly a reaction video, but it's definitely going to be a little bit of commentary just to kind of, point out some stuff or maybe give my thoughts on certain things that we saw in the trailer. All right, let's go. All right, so you can already see a lot of ships that have, well, it looks like they've been crashed into whatever area this is. I'm assuming this is the new zone. We already see some of the colors of the faction with that like purple bluish kind of color. I assume it's like maybe an indigo more like. And, with these ships here, it definitely gives the vibes of, hey, these people landed here. They're not from here. So yeah, it definitely adds up. So let's keep going. All right, we've seen this guy before a few times actually, with this boss around. He might be a roaming boss. I have theories that maybe he could be a roaming boss because every time we've seen any video of him, it's usually this shot of him walking around. So I kind of wonder if he either roams around in a big area or if he roams throughout that entire area. So I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for him. All right, actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. Okay, so this scene right here, we have what looks like to be a bunch of humans just chilling. Some of them, near certain weapons. It looks like a lot of the weapons that are crafted are kind of based on the bosses that we saw in the Oakveil reveal trailer, which I can also leave a link to right here if you guys haven't seen it already, me going through it and reacting to it. But yeah, it definitely seems to have a very like as far as thematics go, you could tell that it's very cohesive with the types of weapons they're using. And even in a previous shot there was another enemy holding a bunch of spears, but I doubt that was a boss. So actually I can point that out here. So in this first shot over on the left hand corner, there is a enemy here. I don't think this is the boss, but it might be because the outfit is very similar. There is also the mohawk that we saw last time, so it kind of makes me think this could be the boss, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's go forward a little bit and pick up where we left off. All right, so we're seeing a little bit of the environment. It looks like this new area is going to have more than one type of environment. Maybe it's going to be something similar to kind of how like Gloomrot has like Gloomrot North and Gloomrot South, where like the northern part is very stormy and dark, and then the southern part is very, well, at least during the day, it's sunny, but it's like super polluted. So I wonder if we're going to see something kind of similar like that in a contrast with these two environments. But yeah, interesting. Okay, so this shot right here is pretty interesting because you see a bunch of flowers kind of growing here. These are not new. These are the fire types. Oh, it looks like we have some plague breers here. We also have this like purplish looking flower here that I'm not too sure what this is. This could be at least what I'm thinking is that it could be one of the flowers that we haven't seen in the game yet that maybe is going to be repurposed for this. Actually, I do not remember what it's called, but in the game right now, there is a flower that I believe is purple, but it doesn't actually have like an in-game model. So I wonder if they're going to kind of reuse that base asset and then add the flowers on top, or if this is just a completely separate new flower. that we haven't seen yet. So I'm wondering if this purple stuff here might be from the flowers itself, but I'm not entirely sure. But that's an interesting detail to notice here. Okay, so this person here might be either a boss, or maybe it could also be well, actually, this person, it looks like they're holding a bow. It's really hard to tell from this image, but it looks to me like they're holding a bow. This could be this could either be maybe I'm not sure if this is a human or if this is a vampire, because I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the outfit and it looks like you have like a purse or something. I'm wondering if this is a model of a vampire or if this is a model of a human in this world. It kind of looks to me like a vampire, and this bow here kind of makes me wonder if, this is just a vampire holding a longbow, but maybe they have a outfit that'll be maybe a new cosmetic you can get with 1.1. So I'm kind of wondering about that. Also, this lab seems awfully interesting. Just looking at everything, all the vials are mostly purple or like a yellow color. So I wonder what is going on with this area, but this looks like an area you might be able to visit. Maybe not see a boss, because I don't think this area is big enough to house a boss. Then again, we could be surprised. I'm not really sure, but I suspect this right here might be a vampire and this might be a new cosmetic. And this hair, like I assume this is hair going all the way down, but it could also maybe be like some kind of scarf or something that we can't really tell from the back. So I'm curious to see what this is. This could be a new hairstyle or something, or facial hair even. Okay, we have some more enemies here. Looks like they follow the creepy guy with the big sword. And it looks like they're kind of, maybe having different types of skill sets here. This guy with a big sword, we'll see later in the trailer that, this guy flings the sword all the way down. This might be some kind of rogue. This might be the rogues of this area. Who knows? Maybe this person might be. It's hard to tell, but kind of makes you speculate a little bit. Though I will say that this camera shot is really nice. I kind of like the being able to see the foliage, and this is definitely the plant life definitely looks a little bit different here. Okay, yeah, see, we have more foliage here. It's a little bit different. So this is a very different kind of biome. I'm not entirely familiar with this kind of shrubbery as far as like where in like IRL we would see these kinds of plants. So I can't really comment on that. But I like this arch. It's kind of neat. Okay, so we saw a little bit of fighting there. Let's go back a few frames. We're going to go back a little bit. So we're going to break this down and we're going to watch this a little bit slower. I want to watch this fight play out a little bit slower. So we're going to watch this at 0.5 speed and see what we got going on here. Yeah, so it looks like we have a little bit of chaos going on here. This guy, okay, so it looks like the guy with the double swords will be throwing like projectiles of some kind, so that's interesting. Actually, that looks like another vampire. Now that I look at it a little bit closely, let's go back again. Let's watch that again, but a little bit slower one more time. Okay, so this guy is throwing knives. This person is jumping into the air. It looks like it's kind of like I guess it's classified as a great sword, this particular kind of weapon. And then we'll see what this person does. We only really saw an auto attack there, so it's hard to know. This guy right here might be a boss. Remember this weapon from the previous trailer. I remember seeing this and I was like, man, that does not look fun to deal with. And yeah, this area here might be like a camp or something with this particular boss, so that's kind of interesting. And then this person here also has the spears again. So then again, I see another guy up here. So I'm wondering if this is a camp where the boss is present and maybe these guys are just like, the higher ups of that camp or something. Like, it kind of makes me wonder. I don't know. We really haven't seen like twin bosses or anything like that in this game, so I kind of wonder if like, you know, that could also be a possibility, but I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I'm kind of wondering if this is just like a follower of like the boss, and I assume they're the bosses because of the previous trailer, which is, I mean, I don't know, it just came off, I got boss energy off of the trailer, so I kind of wonder. And then this person right here, they're unmasked, so it doesn't look like they have anything on their face, so I'm not entirely sure. I don't think this is a boss, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely another vampire, at least the way that this looks to me. What's interesting is that these weapons, they seem to be, let's go back a little bit. They look like the dual blades that we currently have in the game. So I'm wondering if those blades are getting like some new effect or something. Like, I'm not really sure. Because right now, the abilities don't look like this for that weapon. So I wonder if this is going to be like, you know, something to do with like the coatings or something that we're supposed to get for these weapons. I don't know. It's so much going on here. It's hard to really know what to expect. All right, we have, okay, this person has a huge hammer right here. So it's hard to know if this is just like, okay, so this looks like maybe a blacksmith or something of some kind. This looks kind of like a lava pit or something in here. It's hard to really know. Just looking at the environment, the heat definitely looks like, you know, there's some smelting going on here, and of course the hammer usually indicates that. So I don't know, this could be interesting. Let's keep going at normal speed though. I'm gonna go return back to normal. Okay, so we see two vampires here. Someone here holding a bow. Oh, actually, if we go back, this almost looks like what we saw in that previous shot near the lab. I think this is the same location, because if we look here at the left-hand, sorry, what was the left-hand side at that first shot, this might actually be a boss. This might be like a chemist or something then, because I'm looking at, this looks like facial hair, maybe? Like really long facial hair, and when they turn, their cape turns green, so it's kind of making me wonder, oh, that might actually be a boss after all. And they're also using arrows, but you also see, you know, the chemist's supplies here, so I think this might actually be a boss, actually. I stand corrected, maybe. Okay, so we have a bunch of enemies. Here's the big guy we saw earlier in this trailer and that we've seen a few times. I also want to point out, and maybe it's just like an optical illusion or something for me right now, but I'm looking at this chest and it looks pretty big. So it looks like maybe they might have changed the look of like chests in this area. This right here might also be a chest. I'm not really sure. Like this rectangular looking thing looks awfully suspicious to me. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. I noticed there's a lot of trees that have been cut down throughout a lot of these camps and scenes, and you know what's interesting is that the trees cut down, they have like this purple stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have to see what that's about. Okay, yeah, that definitely looks ominous. This reminds me a lot of the areas in Ruins of Mortium, where you have a lot of Dracula's followers in the circle just summoning stuff. And this is really, really similar in that sense. But it looks like it's just channeling into a completely different being, so that's kind of interesting. And then, of course, there's the boss, and I think that's the end. Yeah, so if we go back to that last part, this group of enemies here, I kind of wonder if these are ads spawned by this boss, or if these are guys who are just working in that area. Because if you look here in the background, there's some people like logging, and I'm just like, you know, it kind of makes you wonder what's going on in this area. Like, why is there logging happening here, and then you have, you know, some chaos here. So I kind of wonder if these are just guys that are already in the area that maybe have been aggroed by this vampire, but it's also kind of hard to tell. And then, of course, like, you know, like I said earlier, this looks awfully ominous. And that might be the summon to get this boss to spawn. It looks like the okay, so we have a vampire standing here. The boss is getting out. You see a tail coming out of one portal, and then you see the boss coming out of this one. So, I mean, that last scene, like, if we go back here, we see her right here. Now, her name was revealed from the last post for the previous trailer. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I will actually, you know what? I'm gonna check real fast. Servant Queen Megara, you are here. Very, I mean, this boss, I kind of look at her and I'm like, you know, she does, I don't know if it's just me or like if it was just like the trailer, but she seems like a darker hue of purple here than I thought she would be, like in game. But yeah, it's interesting to see that in one portal, her tail is here coming out almost like a knife. And then on this side, you have, you know, her kind of coming out. So I kind of wonder if like this area right here is, you know, like the boss's site, like this could be the boss right here, and then maybe the followers are just kind of, you know, summoning, doing all the power and stuff and all the purple stuff going in there. And then of course these puddles could just be like the entrances of which this boss could pop in and out of. We might have like a whack-a-mole situation with this boss where maybe, you know, she's so long that she shows up in several different holes at the same time, and maybe there'll be some kind of strategy to beat her. I wonder what the brutal mode of this boss is going to look like. And if the holes are going to be, you know, in the same spots, or if they're going to change up, you know, this area or anything like that for that particular game mode. So yeah, these are kind of my thoughts just looking at a lot of this stuff. You know, it's just, there's so much stuff here. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that maybe other people have noticed that I missed out on, and I just, man, there's just so much going on in this trailer. But yeah, super cool. Really nice to finally see some gameplay of this, and it looks like there's going to be several different camps with different bosses and stuff. It might be something similar to what we saw in the Ruins of Mortium, where we saw the you know, for example, like we had Valencia in like one camp, and then, you know, you have a couple roaming bosses. You know, maybe some of them are roaming bosses, maybe some of them aren't. Like maybe this guy here could be like an alchemist who happens to wield a bow. But, you know, if I go back a few frames, like I was saying earlier, like, you know, his outfit does look a little bit green, like suspiciously green on the side there. So it's hard to know, because when he gets out of that stance, it just kind of, you know, he happens to be on, it's a shame, honestly, that he happens to be on fire in this image. But it looks like, you know, this vampire here was actually using knives against them too. So that's kind of interesting. And I wonder if this fire is actually caused by something like the whip, or if the fire is something that was just, you know, kind of part of the environment or part of the fight. Like maybe some of these vials are going to be tossed at some point. We might have like an embryo situation, or maybe they'll take the flasks and throw them at us. Who knows? So I don't know. This boss in particular, I assume this is a boss, maybe. In particular, kind of stands out to me. It makes me wonder, you know, to see how like that, it looks like, I don't know if it's like a poncho or what, but like that green outfit here, I'm pretty sure this is a boss. It looks very suspiciously like, oh, there we go. See, we're throwing something. It looks like they're throwing like an arrow or something here. So it's kind of hard to tell. But it looks like they're throwing some kind of fire arrows and they're just bursting onto the ground. So that's kind of interesting. I really, really like what I'm seeing here. Super cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this trailer. You know, lots of really interesting stuff we're seeing here. It's kind of hard to, you know, really gauge exactly how many new bosses we're going to see. Because it could just be that the bosses that were shown or showcased in the previous trailer, or, you know, revealed, could just be the tip of the iceberg here. We could be facing several more bosses than we really, you know, anticipated with this 1.1 launch. Because remember, the game had officially been out now for a year. So, you know, with all that time, it wouldn't surprise me if they just implemented a ton of new bosses with the 1.1 update. So because now they're not having to go back and, you know, redo areas or solidify or upgrade the engine or anything like that. So I don't know. That's kind of like what's going on in my head as far as what I'm thinking about this trailer. But overall, really, really cool. Super glad that they finally released this. I've been holding on with bated breath for this for a while, and I am super excited for the release. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. In case you don't know, my name is SholoQ. I stream 3 times a week on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. I have a lot of V-Rising stuff on my channel, usually guides for things like castle decorating and stuff like that. I'm more of a PvE player myself, but if you like that kind of thing, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more V-Rising content. I'll see you guys later, and as always, Sholo out.